Welcome. I'm Tony Williams, and this is Brooklyn Savvy. Well, Brooklyn Savvy is so pleased to have Kimberly Locke in the house. Kimberly Locke is in Brooklyn.
Hey, I took the subway here. I was like, I'm going to Brooklyn this morning. There it is.
But before we get into your really interesting story, let me introduce our Savvy panel. We have Denise Arbisu, Lisa Bing, and Ellen Saltpeter. So anyway, Kim, talk to us about your journey with American Idol. I just want to say this. I was a fan of yours. I remember you with the jeans on and some Birkenstocks, it looked like, and some glasses.
I was not wearing Birkenstocks.
And you were a little bit heavier, but you were doing it. I loved you. So talk to us about it. What was the journey like?
It's so funny. That particular morning, I woke up. I had just graduated college. I was working a job that I really kind of didn't like so much, whatever. I was headed to law school, so I was just setting myself up for all of that. And I got up that morning and I was laying in bed on my back. It was like a scene from a movie.
Right.
Staring at the ceiling, talking to God.
Right.
Literally.
There you go.
I was literally talking.
Is that
I was like, God, you know what I
That's
said? I was like, God, it's raining outside. It's 30 degrees. And on the news, all these people are sleeping outside.
Right.
What person in their right mind is going to go out there and stand in this? And I laid there for like half an hour. And I said, I finally decided, like literally at the last minute, I got up, decided I was going to go, threw on those jeans, that sweater.
Right.
I whipped my hair a little bit. I whipped my hair a little bit. And I went. And I got there. And the funny thing was when I walked up, I saw the line. I got in the line. They wrote a number in your hand.
Wow.
What
was
your number? It was like 1875.
Okay.
Something like that. So wrote a number on my hand, and like only a few other people got in after that. They closed.
Oh wow,
the line
they do
on.
close.
Oh, so it is a closed audition.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of my journey. It's like
so was it
cell
like
phone
this is
updates.
Something you wanted? This was not necessarily.
Was it spontaneous?
Yeah. This is the thing. What happened? I've been singing for a very long time. I'm a realist, but I'm also an artist. So my right brain, left brain, they fight all the time.
Right.
So the realist in me was saying, you know what, Kimberly, you've been doing this for a while. You need to be more realistic about what your career goals are. You're about to graduate college.
So
So
a fallback.
I needed a fallback. So I sang in like 3 or 4 bands in Nashville. I worked regularly, whatever. I was great. And about my sophomore year, going in my junior year, I said, you know what? I got to get serious about school. I got to get my grades up. I got to really hunker down because the singing thing isn't working out so well.
Right.
I'm going to law school. I got to eat, And there's 2 different lives. Did I want to, eat peanut butter?
Goes through that.
I don't want to eat peanut butter jelly because I really don't like peanut butter. But, I'd rather have a job and know that I'm getting a check.
So what were you feeling? It's number 1875.
You know what? I went to this audition because I'm not afraid to go to an audition. I believe that all the auditions that I've done in my life made me so prepared for this moment in my life. And this was just another audition to me. I said to myself, this is another cattle call. Cattle calls all the time. You never know what's going to happen, or most of the time nothing happens, you know? And I just say, you know what? I have nothing to lose. The auditions were like, not even the auditions were like a mile from my house.
Let me ask you, did you really get what we see? Is that what it is? Meaning you're or does a producer speak to you first? Are you pre-auditioned? Can you tell us that? How real is
I will say this from my personal experience on American Idol, because everybody has a different experience. Okay. I think that people want to put American Idol in the reality show category, and it is not.
No.
American Idol in the television world falls under the game show rules. So there are standards and practices. And I mean, if you remember one year on my season, they put the wrong number up for somebody's name. The next day, they were in there. Standards and practice came in and talked to all of us and asked us if we felt like we were being treated fairly, all this stuff. So I believe that when you talk about competition shows, I do believe that American Idol is one of the most fair.
Sounds rigorous.
Absolutely. The only thing about it is, people don't believe the fan vote. Well, they can't mess with the fan vote. The fan vote is what makes it crazy.
So it's totally,
it's rigged.
But Kimberly, the fan vote is totally independent, right?
It's totally, the judges on American Idol don't get a final say.
Right.
It really is the people's.
It's the fans.
people's
It's the
choice.
votes. Right.
It's the people's vote. Yeah.
Right.
But let's talk about some of the inner workings now. You're there, you've got all these talented people. What was it like? Were people supportive?
It's crazy.
Are you competitive? Is there love in the air?
You know what? It is competitive. Listen, it's competitive and there's love in the air. It's the perfect storm for everything to go right and for everything to go wrong. You know, when you're in Hollywood Week in the theater and there's still like 300 people left, it's really funny because I can remember being at the theater outside in the pavilion and everybody was just kind of found their group, hanging out.
Got a little clicky.
It got clicky.
Okay,
and then everybody's singing.
Right.
You know, so everybody's showing off. It's like a bunch of peacocks walking around.
I can see
And
that.
that's okay. That's how it is. It's like a football locker room, I guess. You know, guys who do it. So, you know, everybody's singing, and I just remember thinking, I'm not singing in front of all these people. You know, so I just kind of sat back and I relaxed, you know, whatever. Made a couple of friends, met some people. And it's really intense. It is competitive.
I mean, look at this thing.
It's competitive.
But
Hollywood Week, I'll tell you this, one of my most memorable moments. Going into the hotel, we were in one of the banquet rooms. Nigel Lithgow came into the room. He walked straight up the middle. We're all sitting on each side, and it's literally as he's walking in, he's silencing the crowd. You know, we're all like on pins and needles.
Like Moses.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And he turns around and he says, and this is the only thing he says: look to your left. My left. Look to your right. He said, because one of those people sitting next to you is not going to be here tomorrow.
Just like in law
And he
school.
walked out.
Exactly.
Wow.
I was like,
Just like in law school,
yes.
right?
Just like in law school. I was like, oh, I got
And I'm
this.
wondering, because this is so special what you were able to do. I think you were number 3. How do you, or do you have to deal with the whole issue of the nerves? You know,
do.
the nerves.
You
Going
do.
out there, wondering if you're going to succeed or
How do you
fail.
tame that?
Yeah.
I think that it's unfortunate that some people get that far and their nerves gets
Right.
the best of them.
Right.
It does happen.
Yes.
And it happens all the time. I mean, there are some
Right.
people that you see on the show and you can tell they're so good, but they haven't dealt with their nerves enough.
Right.
And that's where I believe, you know, I had an
championship
advantage.
comes up.
I had an advantage because
Right.
I've been performing it with live band. I've been in clubs. I've been in, you know, I've had people come up to me and say, you know, we don't really think you're that good. Whatever. You know, and people will tell you their opinion even if you don't ask. You know,
Right.
so
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
all the time.
That's real life.
So I had a lot of practice at being criticized and
Right.
being in those intense moments. And I think that if you say anything to people who's going to audition, throw yourself into some, you know, unusual circumstances and perform, because you never know what your voice
Well,
is
it's
going to
also,
do
to
when
your
you're
point,
nervous.
it's like you were used to competition. And I think that's
You
what
need
makes
to
a great
develop
actor.
a thick skin.
And hearing criticism.
And
And
Yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit about that too, because in the workplace, people have to take criticism all the time. So how do you handle criticism, and did your understanding of criticism change as a result of your idol
And
experience?
sometimes it's good.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it's good. I think,
Yeah, but people tend to.
yeah, I come from the South, you know,
Right.
so growing up, you know, I was born in 78, so I grew up in the 80s, and we lived in a very small town, and my mom is white, my dad is black.
Right.
So
I remember that
even in the
too.
early
Right,
80s,
right.
you know, you had a lot of, you know, you still had some racial tension. You know,
Right.
we still have racial tension, but we had,
Adversity.
it was obvious.
But
it was very
it's
obvious and
different.
blatant.
Yeah,
you know,
but
different.
yes.
And so I felt criticized for a lot of things, you know, that had nothing to
you
do
were
with
ready,
my music.
right.
So
Yes.
I've been dealing with this for a very
Right.
long time.
Right.
So once I got to this point, and you know, I had people tell me, you know, producers or people who called themselves producers in my town, you know, and they were like, "You're not good enough." You know, I had people tell me I wasn't good enough.
Oh, that's so
and I,
typical,
you know,
though.
and I had
Right.
people tell me, "No, we don't want to work with you." You know, I had that.
But that didn't stop
It didn't
you.
stop me.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
it didn't
But
stop me.
your image did change.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that and how that has either enhanced or what did it do for your life? How many pounds did you lose?
I lost 40 pounds.
There you
Wow.
go. Right.
I lost 40 pounds, and that's a whole, you know,
During-
that's completely
not-
different.
Was that
Right.
on Celebrity
After.
Fit?
After.
Was that part of Celebrity Fit Club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did Celebrity Fit Club, I did Jenny Craig, and then I've done the rest of it on my own. You know, so it's
Did it help?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah. I mean, it helps me because it makes me more confident. Just when
There
I
you
thought
go.
I couldn't
Right.
be more confident,
Right.
I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, you know, so when you have that,
Of course.
when you have that inner boost,
Yeah,
it doesn't
right.
matter what else is going on
Absolutely.
outside. You need that
Absolutely.
personally.
Right.
So
It's what you needed.
yeah, it's what I needed.
Right.
What would you tell the people that haven't had that experience that you had about criticism and a supportive family and what have you? So somebody who's struggling or wrestling with their inner
How do you deal with that?
confidence
Yeah.
and the criticism piece.
That's a really good question. I think that nobody can help you with that but you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
let me
agree.
just say that.
Right.
You know, you can have the most supportive people in your life. You can have the most caring people. You can have all the tools there. But if you don't have it within yourself to get out and do it and go for it, nobody can do it for you. You know, after American Idol, I got signed with Lane Bryant, you know, which is plus size.
Right.
And so everybody was talking about my weight. You know, I was just inundated. And it crushed me. Like, I found myself in a big ball of
That
mess.
wasn't what you were all
But
about.
that was a turning point for me.
Exactly.
Because Lane Bryant embraced me. They lifted me up. And then after that, I did Celebrity Fit Club.
So you've
Okay.
taken what
Okay.
might have been a disadvantage and made it into an advantage.
Absolutely.
We're
Right.
going to have to break, but we will be right back. Hi, Brooklyn. We're back with Kimberly Locke.
You know, I had a question. I was thinking and listening to you talk about, you know, triumphing over disappointment. And one of the things that really struck me is that I think those are silver lining moments. Like,
Yes.
you're in competition, you're not selected, or you don't make that Hollywood Week first initial cut of 200 people. Like, how have you triumphed over? I mean, you made it very far, but as your colleagues on the show or throughout life, you know, want to
When
speak
I
to
get the
that?
opportunity to talk to people, especially kids, and really mentor with kids, I say to them, don't become a victim of your circumstances.
Absolutely.
Overcome
Excellent.
your circumstances, because my circumstances weren't that great. I'm sure they weren't as bad as a lot of other people, but in my particular circumstance, I could have easily failed. I
Right.
could have easily not, you know, graduated high school. I couldn't have gone to college. You know, it would have been very easy
Right.
for me to go down that road. So I think what you have to do is, I think some people have it.
That's right.
Some people
Right.
don't, and then there are
It's
those
like
who
a
are going to
gift.
work at it, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you have to say, this one thing isn't going to
It's a
make me or
choice,
break
too.
me.
It is a choice.
You know, and you
Yeah.
have to be willing to extract whatever you can out of any situation.
Right.
Find
Right.
the silver lining.
Yeah.
But
That's
you
what
know,
it is.
people in your field though are met with disappointment.
A
you
lot.
know, talk to us about the whole talk show.
The
That was supposed
Revolution.
to, it was supposed to launch 2012 this month.
Yeah,
right?
so it's on.
Yeah,
It's airing.
okay.
I worked very hard on that show, and I had so much fun. You know, and you know, I met a lot of wonderful people. And I said to the producer of that show one day, I said, you know what? I just lived my dream job for a day. For 2 days, actually. Like, I loved it. It made me feel good.
said for 2 days you
For
lived
2 days. You know, for 2 days, because we
Right.
were in the studio filming it. I mean, I'm not talking about the other time that I put
Right.
into it,
Right,
but
right.
for those 2 days when we were actually in the studio working on it, and we're all sitting there like,
Right.
you know, just like this, and
Right.
I'm like, this is my job today.
Right,
I
right.
loved it, and I
Right.
took so much away from it. And what that did for me, even though I didn't get the job,
Right.
it let me know that I'm capable.
But look how positive.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And so that's how I look at it. The fact
Right.
that they wanted me to be a part of that show in the beginning,
Right.
it boosted my confidence.
Yeah.
But you also got
Exactly.
to say, I loved that. And
I
so now
loved
you know.
that.
You know, you put
So
that
you
in your list.
discovered what you're good at.
Yeah.
And that's big for people
Yeah,
to
and
try
I-
things. So
yes.
what I'm taking is the message is try something, don't be afraid to
Right,
fail.
right.
You can't, because I think about the day, I always tell people two choices. Every choice
Choice,
counts.
right.
What if I
Oh.
didn't get out of bed that morning and go
Right.
audition for
And
American
you-
Idol?
Absolutely.
Right. What if you didn't have
Your
that
life
talk
would
with
be
God?
different.
What if I didn't,
Right.
what if me and God didn't have that conversation? You know?
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's- There's
'Cause
all
that's,
these
I mean, we
things.
being playful about it, but you know
It's so
that's
truthful.
Oh, I'm absolutely.
I believe that.
Absolutely.
Every choice that you make, it counts.
Right.
Now,
Right.
Denise, you had something.
Be purposeful.
Yeah, you know, to bring it back to American Idol, I was just thinking, what's the collaboration with the judges? I mean, is there real give and take?
yeah, collaboration.
Is that the right word, you know? And is Simon as
was in
bad
that
as he
Pepsi?
appears? I mean,
The judges are great. We don't get to interact with the judges a lot because it is a
Really?
game show.
Oh, I
Right,
thought,
right.
okay.
We can't.
Oh.
We
Yeah.
cannot because it's a game show.
Perfect.
And that's what
Ah.
people don't understand. You know, they're not allowed to say to us off stage, you know, in rehearsal you really blah blah blah. They can't do
Oh,
that.
so they can't even direct you.
No.
But I thought that Paula Abdul talked about how she counsels or coaches.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Okay, we'll move on.
Oh yeah. I guess we'll have to.
I mean, you know, listen, what kind of counseling and coaching are we doing here? What kind of show is this?
So let's talk about this whole American Idol. You know, it sounds as though that's the beginning of the journey because there are certain American Idols we haven't heard from. I mean, you've got superstars like Kelly Clarkson, love her, Carrie Underwood.
Yeah.
Look at Jennifer Hudson. She didn't win, right?
No, but neither.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why.
Fantasia.
So how do you take that and make something of it? How do you take that?
You have to, if you go into American Idol without a work ethic, you're doomed.
Yeah.
You're doomed.
Work.
You gotta work. I mean,
Discipline.
There's so much work, and there's more work involved after the show because you don't have the machine behind you.
I was wondering,
anymore.
are agents like knocking at the door for you and that?
Do they sign you up right then and there?
Not really. No.
And if I can just build on that, because in terms of a strategy or a plan, lots of people have plans and strategies, but how do you see that through? And it sounds like what you're saying, working hard is not enough.
No, but she's
have a plan.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta have a plan.
Okay.
I think that
How did you see your plan through?
You're seeing it through.
when I was on the show, I'm still saying, honey, I'm still saying.
Right.
When I was on the show, we met a lot of people, so I collected all their business cards.
Okay. All right.
As soon as the show was over and I was out of the contract with them, I picked up the phone, I called all of them and left them a message. I don't care if they were like the CFO of a company, if they had nothing to do with like the business side, entertainment side of it. I called them all, and I was amazed at how many of them took a meeting with me, and some of them were non-entertainment, but just to be able to sit in front of those people who were on a certain level in their own career.
Serious networking.
But that's your strategic plan.
That
Also,
is,
that's part of your education.
Yeah, exactly.
You were business administration, so that plays right into it.
Well, also she had the savvy.
Yeah.
You know.
The
Now,
savvy.
let me ask you, did you all get paid for that time?
Yes. That's the other thing that people don't understand.
You get paid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We become members of AFTRA, the union.
Right.
So we get paid through the union because we're using our talents to perform. You know, on
So you only get
television.
paid when you perform?
Yeah,
Is that how it
we
works?
get paid, but we get paid for any clip that they reuse.
Right.
Okay.
You know,
So
we get paid-
residuals.
we got paid for every project that we
Residuals,
recorded,
right.
every
Right.
song that we did for the show. Yeah, we got paid.
Now, did you get to pick the songs, or how did I always wondered about that.
Oh, they
So the songs.
Yeah.
This is another thing that people don't seem to understand is that there's a cleared list. So the cleared list are those are the songs that people, the songwriters and the publishers have given us permission
To use.
Okay.
I got
If
it.
they don't,
I got it.
if you want to sing a song and they don't give us permission, we can't sing that song.
Right. So let's talk about where you are now. What, you know,
I'm right here in Brooklyn.
where you're headed to. You are so cute.
You know, I'm a big dreamer.
You gotta be, right?
Yeah.
One of my
Yeah.
favorite,
You
one of
gotta
my
be.
favorite, people in the world is Walt Disney.
Okay.
One man's dream.
Right.
It all
Yeah.
happened. His
Right.
brother said he was crazy. Everybody said he was crazy. You know, whatever.
He might have been,
But he might have been. And you know what? His brother said it, but his brother was right there with him.
Right,
That was the
right,
great thing.
right.
And I have a lot of, things that I want to do. I want to do movies. I want to build, a brand. I want to build a brand for myself.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
working on a jewelry line now. I have a new project coming out this spring. I have, I'm working on an independent film.
Now your
this
music,
year.
where do you see what's your genre? Where do you see your niche? Because I'm looking for you. I'm trying to find you.
Right now, my niche
dance.
is I have a dance EP that's
Yeah.
out.
Say EP, what for some
EP. It's a shorter version of
Stands for
an
elongated
album.
play.
Yeah.
We know.
Old term,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Because we're
Yeah.
old.
Right.
So the new single is called "Finally Free." So we're gonna be shooting a video for that this spring, and I want to do that, and I'm going to do that. I'm doing that. One of the things that I'm working on is kind of like a baby project to me. Is I'm working on a cabaret show.
Oh.
So
I can see that wonderfully
one of my
well.
things, I love old Hollywood.
Yeah.
I love
When,
it
so
too.
when
the
people
glamour.
used to go to
Yes.
Carnegie Hall
Yes.
and just stand in front of the microphone and sing the
Sing.
songs,
Right.
you know,
Right.
I want to do that, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm working on that a lot these days. So, you know, I believe my possibilities are endless, and I haven't given up on having my own talk show.
Exactly.
Let's just put that out there.
Absolutely.
I would love to have, you know, a show that's meaningful and impactful. You know, my journey
Right.
has been a journey of, you know, triumph, determination, weight loss. Every woman,
Right.
a lot of men can relate
Can
to that.
identify.
I want to
Right.
talk to you about the mixed race piece. You know, we've done shows on this, and it seems to me that a lot of American Idol contestants that get to the finalists are mixed race descent. I mean, a few of them, like I think Daughtry, there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Meaning, any thoughts about that? Have you ever thought about it? Meaning.
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting that
Because you know what I find when I look out in the crowd, I'm always looking for the families. And in your case, your dad was there one day, your mother was there, and we were able to see that.
Yeah.
Perhaps that doesn't inform voters. I just was wondering if voters look on that very
Yeah, do they
favorably.
pick up on
I
that?
think it's
Yeah.
favorable. I think
Yeah.
it would be favorable.
So then they have both
Yeah,
sides.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Hey, you gotta work with what you got.
That's it, exactly.
I mean, I think
Right.
that you
Stacking the deck.
play to your audience, whatever
Exactly.
you learn who your audience is, and if that is a factor, then yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that there is a whole community of biracial or multiracial
Yes.
people out there
Yes.
who are looking for someone to
Right.
speak to
Right.
them.
Well, and with our current
I was
president,
just-
you know.
Yeah.
yeah,
there you
and I was
go.
just telling somebody the other day, there's a lot of things like my musical journey was so impacted by
Right.
the fact that I'm biracial. I
Right.
was just talking to someone about it
How
yesterday.
so?
Because when I was a kid, you know, my mom was white.
Yes.
So I spent a lot of time with my mom, and I listened to our local white radio station. So I knew all of them,
Right.
the white songs on it. Then I got discovered my dad's mom, my grandmother. She had a big floor model record player with the lights on the front of it,
Yes.
where you
Yes.
prop it up.
Victrola.
Right.
And she had 45 records.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
were
yeah.
all like Motown, Columbia, you know, all that stuff.
Aretha.
So then I discovered those records, and my whole musical, you know,
Shifted.
influence, it
Right,
shifted.
so-
You know, then as I got older, I discovered jazz, and I discovered, you know, blues, and I just, it's like I went through my whole country phase and
An
college.
evolution.
Nashville.
It's an
Right.
evolution, but I
Evolutionary
think that what
process,
people
right.
don't understand with biracial and multi, you know, racial people, they go through this struggle.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, you go,
Right.
you constantly
Right.
go through the
Sure.
struggle, this identity thing of who am I? You know, who I identify with this group of people more than I identify, but why? I'm trying to, and then
Right.
you try so hard
And
to
then, and I
identify
guess
with
people
this other
want to
group.
know where you're
Where
identifying
you are.
Yeah.
sometimes.
But you're
Right.
you.
Put
You're
you in a
you.
box.
Yeah, and
Right.
people will say to you, because I
Right.
had some people say to me, you need to pick what
pick a
side.
side.
You need to pick.
I think
No,
that
you
is
don't.
so changing.
Oh, I did.
Right, that is
You
changing.
did?
Yeah,
we know
when I was a kid.
Yes.
I'm sure it's changing now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's changing, and that's why I love, you know, being in cities like
Of
Right. because you-
Brooklyn,
right.
and New
We're
York.
blessed.
I'm like, honey,
That's your side.
so much of brown people here. They don't care. They don't care what color I am.
Exactly.
You know, and I love it. I love it.
Right.
I do. I love
We
it.
have only a little time left. Now, what about the family side of you? Are you interested in family, having children, and all that?
Oh
kind
Lord,
of
that's the
stuff?
mother coming out.
Well, let me say
I'm just
this.
interested because I waited a long time.
Let me
Okay.
say this.
Right.
I am just now meeting a guy who I believe, a man who I believe is the man for me.
Oh,
Ooh.
good.
And we, you know, if we decide we want to have kids,
Yeah,
you know, I've kind of always been on the fence about having
Cool.
kids.
No,
You know,
understood.
but
Right.
we've talked about it, and we say, you know what, we don't have to make that decision right now.
It's hard to be an
Right.
artist.
We don't have
Right.
to, you know, I've always, listen, I talked to my doctor, I'm like, can I have a kid at 40?
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, take care of yourself, you'll be fine.
There you
know?
go.
Right.
And
That's
so
right.
I don't rule it out, you know, I don't rule any of it out. If I don't want to have a kid, like give birth to a baby,
Right.
then, you know, there are a lot of kids out there that
That's
need
right.
love, right?
Well,
Right, because
Yes.
And I'm okay with that.
Well, I have to say, you have been just delightful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully
Yeah.
we'll be
And
able to
very cute.
have you back on here.
Next time I'd
love to.
Next time you're in Brooklyn, you have to sing in Brooklyn.
There you go.
Yes.
Right. So,
Right.
That'd be great. That'd be
Right.
great.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Brooklyn Savvy. We'll see you next time.